Hey, Nerd Herd, Dynasty Nerds back again with a massive week where the Dynasty landscape has changed. Franchise tags, trades, so much to dig into and how this affects our Dynasty teams.
Mike Williams, por favor.
Oh, man, I got to talk about Javonte Williams. Well, I guess Russell Wilson too, but Javonte Williams and his big jump.
And maybe Melvin Gordon.
Stop it.
So much to dig into. Let's get into it.
Ready, set, Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Rich Dotson, my fellow nerds, Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
Garrett Price.
How's it going?
And producing, as always, Jared Wackerly.
Hello.
With his great hello. And we're back with a big show because there's a big time news in the NFL. Like, what a Tuesday we've had here. What a monster Tuesday. Free agency now.
Yep.
A little bit more, less, a little less.
A little bit more or less.
A little bit more, a little bit less, a little less. A lot of the biggest prize will probably not even be a guy who's a free agent, Amari Cooper.
Some more here, some less there.
Hey, give a little, take a little back. You know, we got a lot of news to talk about here. Some guys are signing contracts. People are getting franchise tagged left and right. Garrett was going to leave the show. We franchise tagged him. He can't go anywhere.
You get
close.
a trade. You get a trade.
Yeah.
You get a trade.
Got him for a solid $11.
Wow.
That's the top five average.
In the Dynasty
Right
pay
here.
scale. Yeah, it is. That's it.
Of us
All
three,
right.
yes.
Yeah. If you work in the Dynasty industry, that's
That's good money.
there's a guy going right now, like, he's getting paid $11?
Don't spend it all in one place.
Wow. Dreams, goals, heroes. So we got a lot to talk about today. So we're going to break into, we obviously want to break down the combine, talk about the winners, losers.
Yes.
Probably some of that's going to get into the Nerd Herd show a little bit too. We're going to talk about the draft a little bit more in the Nerd show.
Yeah, I think we're going to basically, we kind of had to scrap the first show just because we have like 10 news points for breaking news on stuff that happened within the past like 2 days. So I think we're going to cover basically just that and then in this show. Then the Nerd Herd will be combine and our rookie preview.
Yeah. Rookie preview combine. Next week, they're going to talk a little bit of free agency. I'll be in Mexico, so I won't be here. These guys will be here. And then after that, we're starting our rookie breakdown. So again, if you're not a part of the Nerd Herd, you're going to miss half those shows because it's important. You need a film room, the Nerd Herd episodes. We're going to start off with these running backs, kick it off with Breece Hall. The second show is going to be kicked off with Isaiah Spiller. Like, if you want to know what we got to say about Isaiah Spiller, jump on it.
Yep.
Jump on it. So before we get all that, if you guys are listening to the show, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We got a lot going on YouTube, and we have a couple guys, a couple contracts going out there, bringing some other names in here to put out some more YouTube content. If you already subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can see all the cool stuff we got going on in there right now. Like, Garrett's putting out a whole bunch of videos. He's doing his interview series. Just had Kyle Yates on there. Ray Garvin was just on there. Jared and the Film Nerds crew, they have their new videos coming out, breaking down some prospects, and all new Dynasty team audit show where we're figuring out a way the Nerd Herd members only can get their team audited. That was a big success where he took a team, broke it down, tried to make his team better, which we obviously did.
Crushed it.
Yeah, crushed it like what we always do, just crush things like they're soda cans that are empty, crushers. So, and then using our Dynasty GM to do that. So, go hit that subscribe button, support the show. We're pushing to get to 10,000 subscribers. We're about 8,700. So with your support, by hitting the button, all you got to do is hit subscribe.
Help us crush some cans, people.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hit the empty ones.
Hit the
Empty
empty
cans.
ones.
Empty. Yeah, be safe. You want to break an ankle?
Not full hand.
Come on, you want to tear your, what's that bad, when you break your bone, the phalangitis, pharyngitis?
Plantar fasciitis?
Plantar fasciitis. It's
I'd
not
play
a
him at
broken
tight
bone.
end. I'd play him at tight end for sure. You could break that and step on a heavy can. So be careful.
Yes.
Do you ever step on the cans when you're little and they like you wanted to come up your foot and then you have like those little cloggers?
Yes, I did that.
Yeah.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
When you're younger, you step on a can sideways and it mold across your foot.
It would crush up on both sides.
Yeah. Then you're like a semi-pro tap dancer.
Not when you stepped on them from the top.
Right, from the top.
You
from
lay
the
it on the
side.
side. You step on it.
I can honestly say I never did that.
You should go. You should try.
I should do it now.
Yeah.
Well, not
My
now.
foot's probably too big.
little
But
bit.
Garrett,
big.
we're in the middle of production on YouTube.
Hey, guys,
and a
hold on.
podcast.
Me and Rich are a little bit older than you. We're from a different generation where we didn't have a lot to do.
Yeah, we didn't have the
Growing
internet
up.
to entertain us.
There
We
was
had to
no
use-
internet.
We should use empty cans.
Pop cans. That was it. Get
I'm gonna be a dancer.
all jacked up on Mountain Dew and clickety-clack our way around the neighborhood.
All right. And of course, this show here and all our future shows are brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Right now, you use that promo code NERDS. You're getting 100% instant deposit up to $100. So if you want a free $100 to get on there, get some prop action, that's the way to do it. Promo code NERDS at Prize Picks. It's the best legal way to play player props. You pick 2 to 5 players and the over-under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on your entry. And if it's just you versus projected numbers. That's it. Hey, this prop's going to hit or it's not. You win some cash up to 10 times your money. And right now, we're doing something for our audience. Last week we said if you would have hit one of those 14 leg power plays that we just sent you a shirt. But right now, from here until August, there's no NFL action going on, right? Like we don't have player props to bet here that we could talk about. Now, what's great about Prize Picks is they have esports, golf, basketball. March Madness is coming on. They're going to have a lot of stuff going on for March Madness for player props. But we don't know about that stuff. At least I don't know about that stuff. I've never even filled out March Madness bracket.
Me neither. High five it.
Yeah, so
I got you. I got you.
So
I hate Jordan.
I can't talk about those. So what we're going to do for the Nerd Herd listeners and the YouTube watchers is if you get on the Prize Picks right now, you have to use the promo code NERDS. Remember, if you're already there and you don't have the promo code NERDS in, sorry, you don't qualify.
Doesn't
but
count.
if you do, you're going to get, and you make one futures bet for the next season. One futures. I mean, come on. Cortland Sutton, over under on the yards right now.
Love it.
I mean, you got to take the over with Big Russ there, right?
Big Russ.
You got to take Big Russ. You got to take the over. Jared
Rusty,
Judy.
Rusty from now on.
Rusty?
He's going to be an orange. I just feel like Rusty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
All you got to do is place one bet, NFL futures bet, and you screenshot it, you DM the Dynasty Nerds account or send it to Jared at dynastynerds.com, or DM Garrett Price over here at Dynasty Price. We'll verify that your email was used for the Nerds code, and we're going to send you the most comfortable shirt in the world. That's a Dynasty Nerd shirt. Look, I'm wearing it. So if you're listening, just hit up YouTube real quick. Fast forward to this minute. Check out this shirt. It's the most comfortable shirt in the world. It's my favorite comment I get back. I'm like, dude, I got your shirt. And you weren't joking. It is the most comfortable shirt in the world. Like, what? I don't lie on my podcast.
No jokes here about our shirts.
All truths.
I mean, what do I joke about?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Well, you joke about a lot of things, but not T-shirts.
Yeah. So if you want to increase your high five intake, you want your nipples to be the most comfortable resting nipples you've ever had, get the Prize Picks right now. Put that deposit down. Make an NFL futures bet, and then we're gonna hook you up.
What is a resting nipple? Is there an active nipple?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like out there doing things?
When you're running,
running.
when you're thrusting your hips sometimes,
all right.
when you're working out, when you're swimming, those are.
But your nipple's not doing anything there.
Yeah, they are.
It's just existing.
Yeah, they are. Pump in, pump out. Run like this. Look at your nipples move. Why do you think runners? When you ever see runners, they had to put tape over their nipples because they start bleeding.
But I think it's. Never mind.
Yep. It's not the nipples moving. It's probably the shirt moving.
It's probably, yeah.
But never mind.
Listen, get on there, make a futures bet. We're going to send you the most comfortable shirt in the world. You could be the judge and let me know how comfortable it is. We have all different kinds of colors. And then send it to the Dynasty Nerds DM at Twitter at Dynasty Nerds. Email Jared, Jaeerd,
stop.
at dynastynerds.com.
I had to edit you spelling my name last show because it was wrong.
Jared.
Thank you. You said J-R-E-D. J-Red.
Touchdown, juniors.
I was like, I'm editing this out.
So again, remember, you can make mixed sports entries over at Prize Picks. NBA, college basketball, Major League Baseball if they play, soccer, MMA, college football, so much more. Get on there. Great site. We love them. Prize Picks. And you got to do it because I'm going to annoy you for the next 11 and a half months about it anyway. So you might as well just do it now. Prize Picks. Promo code NERDS. Now, let's get into all the news of the NFL today.
So much news.
We'll kick it off with the largest, allegedly, because Aaron Rodgers said he has not signed it yet, but that doesn't mean he hasn't put the pen to paper yet. Doesn't mean he has agreed to it. If Ian Rappaport says he did it, or Tom Pelissero says he did it, or Aaron Schefter said he did it, then he did it. It's not the biggest contract.
Unless he didn't do it.
Unless he did it.
Come on, Aaron. You know you're going to do it. Do it. 4 years, $200 million, $150
$200 million.
Whew.
153, right? 153 million of it's guaranteed.
I mean, dude,
and
the
he
four of
lowers
us
his cap
combined in our entire life won't make $153 million. And this dude just put pen to paper, and he's crushing it. Well deserved. Back-to-back MVPs.
Yep.
The salary cap goes up every year. Now it's going to be $208 million. So $50 million, that's a large chunk. For a guy that always complains about, like, I don't have enough around me, like, where are you going to spend all that money now?
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough to put a team around him, but they're gonna figure it out, man. They're gonna work some stuff. They're gonna work their magic, and they're gonna push it all down down the road. I mean, they're going to have to.
Well, and even their cap situation for this season actually got a little bit better with him signing that contract. So it actually alleviated some of that for this year, which is why they were able to, which is another part of the news today, able to franchise tag Davante Adams. So the band is back together. At one point that looked very, very unlikely, but everything kind of just kept going in that direction, and they made it work.
Yeah, there's going to be a very solid trend of all these things we're talking about is nobody left. And we talk about it all the time.
The only team that's still like
There's one person that's gone. It was kind of arguably the biggest news of the day.
Who's that?
Russell Wilson.
Oh, well, we haven't got there yet. That's not. We're talking about free agency.
You said that's the theme of the day is that nobody left.
Yeah, well, nobody left that was going to be free agents. They all got franchise or signed extensions.
So what I was going to say before you interrupted was the Saints. They weren't able to franchise tag their left tackle because they just don't have enough money. I mean, they were the worst team. They were $64 million over the cap, and they weren't able to get that done because there's no magic thing to get you out of that.
Terran Armstead. Yeah.
Yep.
So with Rodgers' new deal, obviously with Davante Adams there, still a top 5 dynasty quarterback in your guys' eyes, even with the age. Like now we know, hey, we got about 4 years of Aaron Rodgers in a super flex league. Are you viewing him now as still a top 5 quarterback, or is he in that 6 to 10 range for you?
That's a good question. That one's tough because I think before, when we were doing our show, I think just last week when we were talking about this kind of stuff, he had been dropped a little bit, but it was due to the fact that we didn't know that he was going to be around. And now that we know that he's going to be around and it's 4 years, I think I probably have to go back in and readjust my rankings and put him back. He'll be at probably the bottom part of that top 5. He'll probably be right around number 5. But I think obviously from a skill set standpoint, and the fact that Brady just retired as well, he's kind of like the new old guy that's just going to produce like crazy and probably get traded a bunch here in the next 3 or 4 years in Superflex and 1 QB leagues for that matter.
If you're talking about redraft or like on the Dynasty GM tool, the contender version, which is basically the same thing, then yeah, I would say absolutely. I mean, he's still at the top of his game. But as far as Dynasty goes, I can't quite put him there. When you look at, you got Mahomes, Herbert, and Allen, which have the top 3 spots locked up no matter what.
Yep.
Then you would have to get him ahead of
Burrow,
Kyler, Dak, Watson. And I don't know that I can put him ahead of 2 of those or 3 of those guys to get him in the top 5.
I won't put him at any of those guys.
So that's the thing. I think he's more like 8-9 range for me.
I think I can get him ahead of Kyler. You don't think you can get him ahead of
No.
I can't personally, but even if you got him ahead of Kyler, that would still put him at 7.
And I'm not even a Kyler like supporter, but like I wouldn't put ahead of Kyler for Dynasty.
It's just so many years.
For 4 years, you think Dak is going to outperform him for the next 4 years? Because 4
think it'll be
years
similar.
is a
I bet
long
he
time.
doesn't play out the whole 4 years.
You don't think he's going to play?
I bet he doesn't.
I have a hard time believing he's not going to.
I bet he plays out 3 of the 4.
Okay. 3 years is a long time.
It's about
It is.
It's about 36 months.
You're right. You're very good at math.
Give or take.
Give or take a couple days. Leap years involved. You never know.
I'm willing to keep him up there.
That's fine.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, you can check them out. Our Dynasty Nerds rankings are now. We updated our Dynasty rankings. If you if you're not a Nerd Herd member, you can check them out now. Now they're a little bit dumbed down for the non-Nerd Herd members, where you can't like sort them all overall. But you can see our individual rankings. You can see those quarterback ranks. Check them out. See where Aaron Rodgers sits. Go to dynastynerds.com. Check out rankings. Boop boop boop. That's my ranking noise. And obviously Davante Adams goes with him. They're going to try and lock Davante up long term as well. Probably same thing. Probably want to give him a 4-year deal here.
Push some money down the road so it's less of a cap hit.
And if you've been following to the trend, I mean, Davante Adams has slowly slipped down the dynasty ranks a little bit here. People have been, like Frogger and him. So what do you guys think? Is this, if they can get a 4-year deal done with Davante Adams, does this solidify Davante Adams where we were saying, hey, we probably take Deebo Samuel probably ahead of Davante Adams possibly for long-term dynasty. If we can get 4 more years out of Davante Adams, which again would probably be like a 3-year deal because he's going to be 29, does this also solidify him in your dynasty wide receiver ranks? Like, does this bolster him up in your guys' rankings a little bit to kind of like lock him in where he was or close to it?
I didn't necessarily tie his value to Aaron Rodgers. So I view him, I think, the same, regardless of, like, I didn't drop him down because I thought, hey, he's going to not be with Aaron Rodgers.
But now that we know he is going to be with Rodgers, is what I'm saying, which is equals touchdowns galore. Like that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that but now that we know this pair's locked in, is that the boost? Because I mean, obviously the word for everybody was like, hey, if you go somewhere else besides, like we all said,
Oakland
or Las Vegas with Derek Carr from that Fresno State connection, what does that lose some of its luster a little bit? So to me, I think it does boost it back up because you mentioned before, just with Rodgers, 3 more years to get a guy of Adams' caliber, which is high end wide receiver 1, potential 1 overall.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think the difference for me, and I guess I can only explain it from my point of view, is
you just never moved him.
I never moved him down because I thought he was going to go somewhere else. Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, was moved down because I wasn't sure if he was going to be here. So now that Aaron Rodgers is for sure going to be here, I have to move him up a little bit, whereas in Davante Adams, I don't really need to move, knowing that he's going to be with Aaron Rodgers or without him. Like he was going to be here in the NFL no matter what, either way.
I struggle with this one because he's not going to touch the tier of Chase and Jefferson just simply because they're so young.
Right.
Yep.
So then you have the tier of like A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Debo. All of those guys are really close.
Jalen Waddle, CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
I have him behind TJ Moore. I'm about to move him up right now.
So I just went and looked. I had him at 5 before this. I'm not going to move him up.
Right.
He's not going to be above Justin Jefferson. He's not going to be above Jamar Chase or A.J. Brown or Deebo Samuel for me. Like he's just going to stay there. That's where he's going to live.
And I think I have him right around 6 or 7, and he'll probably stay virtually in that same spot because even if it is he has a 4-year deal, I feel good about 2 of those years. But once you get to 31 and 32, I don't care who you are. I'm not counting on you. We saw it happen with Julio Jones. We saw it happen with A.J. Green. We saw it happen with a lot of very elite players. Yes, there have been a few and far between that have gone after 30 and still been very productive. But at that point, I'm expecting him to move down more into the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 range, which is fine. But I still expect a lot of those other guys to still be in the wide receiver 1 conversation. So I'm going to probably be leaving him right around that 7 range that I have him right now.
I have him in 8. I still take Waddle ahead of him because I still believe in everything that we talked about last week about Waddle. I still believe in Debo as an all-purpose guy that'll get us there with the production there. I still, now the Amari Cooper news where I had Amari, where I was like, I don't know about CeeDee Lamb, where I had him at 5. And I was like, I don't know. This is the one guy I don't know. Well, now I know.
Right.
With Amari Cooper leaving, CeeDee Lamb's the guy. Let's go. Let's about to enter that DeAndre Hopkins phase. So A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is rumored to be on the verge of signing a 4-year extension as well, where he's going to be making $20 million a year. And then obviously Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson is where it's at. So every year counts in Dynasty. So Tyreek Hill, I'll take those years. And then A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Debo, and Waddle. I'll just take the years over those in startups. I'm looking at this as startup value, not contender value. Because if it was contender value, like you said, Davante shoots all the way to the top. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue against anybody against him as being wide receiver 1 100%. Overall. So that's where I view him. Moving on here, more news. Obviously, the second.
Real quick before you move on, does this do anything for your view of the running backs that are there? Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
Thank you, AJ Dillon. I wanted to say AJ Jones. Does it do anything for you positively, negatively? Because it does for me for a little bit with Aaron Jones, because if it was going to be a rebuilding team, I thought that kind of spelled the end basically for Aaron Jones. Now this gives him a little bit more life, in my opinion. Any thoughts on those 2 players?
No, I think it extends his life. I don't know that his time as a high-end like running back 1 is going to continue.
Oh, no.
Because I think A.J. Dillon has shown enough,
he's eating
both
a huge
in the
chunk.
passing game and in the rushing attack, that I think his role is just going to keep kind of expanding. So while, yes, I think it gives him new life in my eyes, like to kind of continue as a high-end RB2, that's kind of the extent of it.
I think they hurt each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I think for me, I don't want really either of the guys, to be honest with you.
But you feel better now that Rodgers is here, though, right?
I certainly feel better about Aaron Jones now that he's there, because there's no like, but I think I mean, he just signed an extension, so it's not like he was going anywhere this year anyways. And I almost feel like
no, but you'd feel a lot different with Jordan Love run offense.
Oh yeah,
with
Smother City, yeah,
with Aaron Jones as a running back than Aaron Rodgers.
I think Aaron Jones is somewhat of a buy in Dynasty because everybody's so on that AJ Dillon bandwagon right now. Like it's really just dipped Aaron Jones' price in Dynasty. I mean, you could probably get Aaron Jones. I wouldn't be surprised by the time this draft hits as these names start to grow. And we're going to talk about it in the next show, like how like we all agree, like the depth at running back in this class seems way better than it did 2 months ago. The whole overall depth of this class, where not high-end talent, but players that you're going to want on your dynasty roster, has grown a little bit. So,
well, I feel like this draft is so deep, right? Because there was a lot of people that stayed that extra year that normally would have come out of school last year. So yeah, they've talked about it even on the telecast. If you guys watched the combine a lot, how deep this class is going to be. Yeah,
so I'm interested in like maybe getting Aaron Jones for like maybe possibly getting for like 2-1, 2-2, and Superflex leagues like even maybe a little bit lower. Like there'd be value there, and I still think Aaron Jones is talented enough to.
Is he 27? No.
Yeah,
it should be around there. Yeah,
I'm
he's
pretty sure
he's gonna offer value, and I think AJ Dillon.
He's still the pass catching back for them.
Yeah, and AJ Dillon looked really good, but I still think from a fantasy football output, like his value is a little bit overblown. Like I'd be looking to sell both of them, but obviously Aaron Jones' value is a little bit dipped. But if I get the same value for AJ Dillon, I can get like a Zamir White in the right situation. I might be looking to do something along those lines because that's my guy. So, we won't go before we get to the biggest news of the day with somebody not actually getting franchise tag, was signed a 3-year extension for $60 million, which is the biggest news today. We got to talk about probably the second biggest news of the day. And that's Russell Wilson getting traded to the Denver Broncos.
That blew my mind.
Yeah, a monster trade out of nowhere.
That came so quickly. Like I heard the Aaron Rodgers news, and then, like I went and made some food. I sat down. I was kind of away from my computer, and then I got back to my phone, and there was like 15 text messages from you guys going back and forth. I'm like, what happened? And immediately I went and looked. I was like, I couldn't believe it, man.
I was the same boat. Like I saw the Rodgers news. I was like, I'm gonna go work out for a little bit, and then I saw these texts coming in. They're like, we should probably change the show now with the Rodgers news, this news, and the Wilson news. I'm like, Wilson news? I'm like, what happened to Wilson? So I go on, boom, blockbuster trade. I'm like, whoa, what did they give up? And obviously they gave up, for Wilson, it doesn't seem like a lot, but from a dynasty output, they gave up Noah Fant. So
yeah,
Noah Fant goes
2 firsts, 2 seconds.
2 seconds, a fourth, Noah Fant, and Drew Lock.
And Shelby
Harris.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
There's a lot to break down here. Right now,
I got most of it, man.
You did good.
Thanks.
Shelby Harris is a big one there. So with Russell Wilson let's start with Russell Wilson himself, right? Now he's going to a situation where like, wow, he's got some really good receivers here with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. But you can also argue that his receiving situation is not necessarily better because he's leaving DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, two very suitable wide receivers there in Seattle. But there's still a lot of upside there with those wide receivers. And definitely Cortland Sutton. Both these guys are big winners. Jerry Jeudy's going to fill the Tyler Lockett role. Cortland Sutton's going to fill that DK Metcalf role. And where Cortland Sutton really won was getting downfield and stretching that field. But he's had some really rough goes at quarterback with Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, not being able to push it down the field. But that's what actually Russell Wilson does really, really well. He's able to just push that ball down the field for Cortland Sutton. So he went from being maybe a wide receiver 3 to a potential high-end wide receiver 2, where we saw him 2 years ago, where we thought he was on the verge of being a potential wide receiver 1 year in, year out. So big news from the receiver aspects. And, of course, everybody's talking about Albert O.
Yep,
now.
Absolutely.
Who kind of ate a little bit in Noah Fant's time there in Denver, as it was the former first-round pick. Now, before I get your guys' opinion on all of this, I just want to say, for me personally, like I'm using this Albert O news and I'm selling. Like I'm selling because right now that Albert O news is out of control. People are like, dude, tight end 1 for sure, locked in.
Somebody said, I just saw it on Twitter that they moved him up to their tight end 10 or something like that overall, which.
Oh, that's fine.
That's crazy in my eyes. I know he has flashed some potential, but I don't think he's a top 10 kind of candidate. I definitely moved him up my ranks. I think I got him in the teens now, like 16, 17, where he was down in like no man's land in the late 20s or something like that.
Which is no different than being wide receiver 10. So it doesn't really matter. That's the whole point. There's no difference to being wide receiver 16. Well, there's 6 spots. But
you mean tight end 16 or tight end 10?
Tight end 16 or tight end 10. Like the point differential per game, we talk about this many times when it comes to tight ends. But right now, his name is hot. Definitely in tight end premium. You could probably get a really good pick or player for a guy like Albert O. And my concern isn't even Albert O and his skill set. He's a big, fast, talented tight end. But to be a dominant tight end, to be the guy at tight end and put up those top 5, top 6 numbers, you have to be the guy in your offense. You have to be targeted heavily and do something with it. So with Javonte Williams, with potentially Melvin Gordon come back, potentially, but even
say that.
Even without Melvin Gordon, with Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, and Cortland Sutton, I don't think Albert O is just going to get the targets enough. Yeah, maybe he'll have enough to be tight end 8 or tight end 10, but to break that top 6 kind of that top 6 fill.
Difference maker.
Be a difference maker. I just don't see it, and I'm just kind of like riding that hype and trying to go somewhere else with it.
I'm with you because on top of that, tell me the tight end that has been crazy successful with Russell Wilson.
With Russell Wilson. That was going to be my point.
Yeah, like he's had stretches with players over like 2 or 3 games here and there that, they've targeted quite a bit. But for the most part, he hasn't been a guy that's thrown it to a ton. Now, could that be a faction of the offense or things like that? Sure, maybe that'll be slightly different here. But, Hackett came from an offense where tight end wasn't used a ton either. And yeah, so I just don't know where that volume is going to come from. I always thought he was a good player. And if you had him already, like, congratulations. He just got a huge value bump. Whether you keep him or trade him or whatever, he got a huge value bump. But I'm not buying him under any circumstances right now.
But that's the thing. You could probably sell him. Like, I'm interested to go in the trade finder like tomorrow and the day after that and look at some Albert O trades. But the value is a huge bump to his value. And sometimes it's just about finding the right opportunity to get these guys to sell. It's like the stock market when it comes to Dynasty. So right now, if I could flip Albert O for Cole Kmet, Dawson Knox right now, like those 2 guys specifically, like Cole Kmet or Dawson Knox, they offer a much higher ceiling from a fantasy output. That's the move that I'm making.
Since this player was in that range last week when we were talking about top 10 guys, what about the player that was traded in this Noah Fant? Who are you taking, Noah Fant or Albert O? Because I think a lot of people right now are like Albert O for sure. I mean,
that's tough. Noah Fant's been kind of overrated. I've kind of mentioned a couple times on the show in the past. Like, I'm just not a big Noah Fant guy.
But he's a guy that's always bordering right on that tight end 1.
But now he's going to a situation again. Tyler Lockett might get traded. There's still 2 stud receivers ahead of him, and we have no idea who the quarterback is. So
you're leaning Albert O above Noah Fant in this.
I would. Yeah, I guess. I mean, no, because I'd want Albert O because I could probably sell him for more right now.
I'm just talking about like if
which player do you
I would take Noah Fant.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was trying to get to. The like what personally, who do you value higher? Not like,
from a talent output, I'll still take Noah Fant.
Okay. Yeah.
He's got that first round pedigree. He still had really good film. He's more of like a Mike Gesicki. And maybe this move could help him a little bit. Because because here's the thing. The same reason that everybody's sitting there talking about, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy getting this big bump. They've been hindered, but now people want to poo-poo on Noah Fant. Well, listen, he's going to his 3rd year, right? Of in the NFL. We all know fourth year.
Yep.
We know the tight end takes time. He's been in a doo-doo situation with quarterbacks as well. So, like, where's his benefit of the doubt? Like, what if they go in and they trade for Jimmy G? Or maybe they draft Malik Willis now or a good quarterback and they turn around and
they're right there at 9, right? That's
right at 9. Yep. And the best thing that can happen for Noah Fant is they do trade Tyler Lockett away. So now it's DK Metcalf and Noah Fant are the number 1 goes to. And we all know the young quarterbacks like that safety valve, the seam runners, which are going to be the tight ends, which is Noah Fant. I would expect Noah Fant to outproduce Albert O almost year in and year out in almost any situation here going forward.
I think he's a much better talent. That's why I would go with the Noah Fant side of that as well. That's why I asked, because I feel like everyone's poo-pooing Noah Fant and everyone's like pumping up Albert O. So I just wanted to kind of see where you guys landed on that.
And obviously for Russ, this is a great situation for him. He's got a really good defense. He's got a Super Bowl caliber team. He's got a locked-in runner here too. I mean,
does it actually move the needle much for him though? Like maybe a quarterback spot?
I think he could potentially be in an offense that's more pass happy. Don't you think?
Could. I mean, definitely could be, but
compared to Pete Carroll's that very conservative, very run heavy.
For sure. But I mean, you do still have Javonte Williams and potentially Melvin Gordon as well. So
look at you. Don't you dare!
I know.
But you could have Melvin.
Hypothetically. I only when it proves my point, Matt. Not when it's against my point.
All right, here's a question for you guys. I'll give you. So now that the news changed, I'm gonna give you Russell Wilson in Dynasty, Superflex. Would you rather have Russell Wilson or Trevor Lawrence?
Wilson. I wanted him before, though, still, too.
There's so much more time with that young buck.
Yeah, I would take Trevor Lawrence.
I think Trevor Lawrence, but it's I think closer than it was.
Russ is what, 31, 32?
No, 33.
I'll look.
He's older than Matt Stafford.
Is he?
Yeah. So, okay. Speaking of that, a freshly traded quarterback that just won a Super Bowl, who'd you rather have in Superflex, Matt Stafford or Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson. But once again, I had him above before. I had him above a lot of these guys.
So I had Stafford ahead of him before because I like Stafford's offense. It's a throw-first offense with all those weapons. They're going to bring Odell back as well. So I think I like Stafford more just because I think they're going to throw the football more there.
Russell Wilson is 33 years old in 99 days.
Okay.
So going to be 34. So you probably got a good solid 4 more years. So that's in Superflex. You got to take that into account as well.
Sure.
Who would you rather have, Matt Stafford or Russell Wilson? Probably pretty close. I would take Stafford again just because I think they throw the football more.
Yeah, we know
LA.
that it's a pass first. We're not sure exactly what we're going to get out of Hackett here in Denver. So I'm going to say, it's still Stafford in that instance.
Now, in my rankings, I have this quarterback. I probably got to move him in Superflex now that this news is broke. Justin Fields or Russell Wilson?
It's close, but I still have
Wilson.
I had him above Lance. I have him above Rodgers.
You have him above Rodgers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, he has a chance to here. Things go big time here for him. Definitely if Javonte gets involved in the passing game inside the 10, they gives you some screens or in the flats there for him. I mean, Russ could have 50 touchdowns.
I think Wilson with Cortland Sutton is a really underrated, nice fit right now.
Sure.
I mean, Cortland Sutton last year was, I think, 3rd in the league in air yards per attempt. And that just fits perfectly with what Russell Wilson wants to do. He was this guy that, he leads the league in all sorts of passing categories for distance. I mean, that's what he is known for. That's what he's good for. Obviously, Cortland Sutton and DK Metcalf, much different physically, but I think they want to do a lot of the same stuff, get downfield, kind of win over the top of people.
I think Sutton can help Wilson win even more with the way he dominates the sideline, right? Like his body control, the way he can own that sideline.
Contested catch stuff.
I mean, DK Metcalf would taking the lid off, the top off the defenses, using his speed to get downfield, where Russ just needs to throw it up to Cortland Sutton. He's going to come down with it, and then you have the underneath Jerry Jeudy with just a stout route technician out there. As long as he can find that separation, should eat as well. So, yeah, I'm probably a little bit too low on Russell Wilson, but at the same time, I want to see it all come together. Like I'll move Russell Wilson up as I see fit as he plays. And to be fair, like I've always been lower on Russell Wilson than everybody else. He's just one of those players that I've just rubs me the wrong way.
Oh, really?
It just I don't know what it is. I always rank him a little bit lower than everybody else because I just I've never owned a Russell Wilson share.
Oh, really?
In all my dynasty years or leagues, I've never owned him. It's just I don't know what it is about Russell Wilson in his gameplay. Been fantastic, but I just don't own him. Sorry, own's the wrong word to use. I've never
had him on your team.
Had him on my team.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what would you pay for Russell Wilson? So obviously, Aaron Rodgers right now in Superflex is still gonna cost you 2 firsts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Russell Wilson moves his team. Somebody's excited. Their team is in rebuild mode because their team's been bad. Hey, Russell Wilson's on the block. Now that we know he's in Denver, we talked about his skill set players here, which are arguably some of the best in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you giving up for Russell Wilson, Matt, in a Superflex league? Are you giving up 3 firsts for Russell Wilson?
I was going to say 2 is definitely not even going to get, I don't think, be close to getting it done.
Depends on the league. I think we still value Superflex a little bit higher than the general consensus.
Yeah.
So while I don't think it will happen most places, I think that's actually closer than you think.
Okay. I was going to say, if you're in win now mode, then I would be okay giving 3 because he's like we said, he's 33 years old. I mean, that's a ton of time in order to kind of get some juice out of that, and then even go back and trade and kind of pull back some of that.
Sure.
Maybe get 2 firsts 3 years down the line with a guy that's only 33 years old. So I think I would do that. I think I would go 3, but that I wouldn't go any higher than that.
Okay.
I don't know that I can quite cross the 3 threshold. That's kind of reserved for like those top 5 quarterbacks for me.
Like 2 and Jimmy G.
Yeah, something like that,
lines.
or like if there was a position player they liked, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, or somebody like that's got some upside but isn't
Your boy?
established. I love Amon-Ra, I do.
Hey.
But
Quarterbacks rule.
Yeah. You saw somewhere around there.
So you don't feel like Amon-Ra St. Brown is like worth a first round draft pick?
Depends on who you talk to. I don't think I would pay a first right now.
You wouldn't pay a first for Amon-Ra St. Brown right now?
I don't think I would.
You wouldn't pay 1.9 right now for Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I don't think so. I could maybe talk to him to like 111, 112.
So you'd rather have like Jahan Dotson over Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I think Dotson will be going lower. I'm talking super flex.
Oh, super flex. Okay. Yeah.
I guess that's what we're talking.
Super flex. Then probably right around like 112, right at 111. Because I'm taking those high.
I feel like Amon-Ra St. Brown is close to a first round draft pick. That's why I was asking. Like, what we're trying to differentiate here.
I don't know. Josh Reynolds just signed a 2-year contract extension, so I don't know. Is it you a little bit in that Amon-Ra St. Brown time?
Oh, he was there with
Hawkinson?
Amon-Ra. It's more what worries me is TJ Hawkinson coming back because he was injured for most of that time.
Yep. Yes, he was.
Swift coming back, and then them drafting potentially somebody even like his teammate Drake London or somebody like that because they have that early second round pick that they could get a good wide receiver. So that's more where my hesitancy comes from, not necessarily him as a player.
Okay, before we flip the side back to Seattle here real quick, Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy, Garrett, who do you want?
All right, so I was updating our stuff for the Dynasty ranks and the contender ranks for the GM tool today, and I literally put them next to each other.
But who do you put first?
You can't put them next to each other. They've got to be one on top of the other.
Like, why is this 66A and 66B? That's so weird. I put Jeudy ahead.
Jeudy ahead? Okay.
I've got Jeudy ahead by a few spots.
I got Jeudy ahead by 69A and 69B as well.
I think it's 3.
Judy's $1.61 on Prediction Strike, and Cortland Sutton is $1.16.
Ooh, you better get in there on Prediction Strike and get those guys.
Because remember that the value doesn't change in the offseason that much, so that's
it's only with it's not with their performance. It's just who's getting them, who's selling them, whatever. So that's a good opportunity to get in and snatch those players as the trades go on, as the free agency moves happen. That's great time to find value in certain players. So go in there, get yourself some Jerry Jeudy stocks. And when you do that, sign up with the promo code Dynasty because you know what that'll get you? That'll get you an absolutely, positively free 99 share of a player with your first deposit of $20 or more. That's right. Absolutely free. If you use the promo code Dynasty at PredictionStrike.com, they have the app, they have the website. It's one of the best things out there. If you have not tried it yet, and you are listening to the Dynasty Nerds show, this show in particular, Dynasty Nerds, if you are a Dynasty fantasy football player, Prediction Strike and Dynasty, hand in hand like this.
Yep. People make good money in the offseason by making some good moves like this.
Yep.
You buy Cortland Sutton now, Jerry Jeudy now, then boom, all of a sudden they're worth $3.
They
Just
dovetail.
You just doubled your money.
I just got some Jerry Jeudy shares.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah,
My Brian Edwards shares aren't looking so good.
No. But you win some and you lose some.
You can't win them all.
You throw a quick $20 on Jerry Jeudy, you double that up, you're up to $40, and then you buy Kenneth Walker Jr. or the third shares, and then all of a sudden you're a millionaire.
If you would have bought all the Javonte shares we talked about last year, you would be a bazillionaire.
Ooh, you would be Jeff Bezos.
That's right.
On the flip side here in Seattle, like I think this increases the odds that Rashad Penny's coming back, most likely.
Huh.
You don't think so? That's a negative hunt. That's a sigh too. I got a hunt, a sigh.
I don't know. Like I truly don't know. Huh? There was a report that came out today that they're not going to get into a bidding war for Rashad Penny.
Oh, neither is anybody else.
So
they just released Bobby Wagner while we were doing the show.
They released the vet Bobby Wagner, the heart and soul of that defense.
They're breaking this thing down.
They're burning it down.
So that's the thing. Like
they're not going to sign a running
back. If they
right
can
now.
get. Well, it's Pete Carroll. So, if they can get the running back on the decently cheap, maybe.
They got Chris Carson for that.
Potentially, yeah, if he
Coming
can play
that,
ever again.
That neck issue.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, I think they're tearing this thing down to the studs. The only piece I could see maybe still being there would be DK Metcalf because he's so young. But they might also look on the flip side and say, we could get quite a bit for DK Metcalf. And
23 or 24. Like I
think he's
young.
24.
He was young when he came in.
Because this will be he's going to be going into his fourth year.
Yeah, like how do you not try and sell get like a fourth or a third for Lockett, right? Like a fourth or third, and then try and get like a high second for like Metcalf, and just like
you might even be able to get more than that. You might be able to get a first from.
Yeah, I guess you do need to move. I guess you need some players to to come People come watch.
Yeah, have people come and be in the stands.
So, I mean, unfortunately for DK Metcalf, I mean, this hurts his dynasty value.
This is a big blow to his dynasty value. I think he's the biggest loser in this whole thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, Russ's arm getting downfield to him. I mean, it's. I think when we said we were down on DK and we had him down at the 112 range during the rookie ranking show when he came out was. I think we came back and looked at it as like, I think where we missed on here is we underestimated Russell Wilson and his arm.
Sure.
Just to put DK in some really good positions. And he did. So he's definitely, without knowing who his quarterback is, I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo is DK Metcalf's quarterback, I mean, are you guys like going from 6 to midnight? No, you're staying out cold naked. I'm whelmed
with him. I'm underwhelmed if like Drew Lock ends up being like the fallback plan. Like that's underwhelming.
Well, at least Drew Lock could chuck it down the field and hope for the best.
Oh, he's terrible.
He is terrible.
Man.
He's pretty bad. He's pretty bad. Yeah, it's rough. And we even talked 2 weeks ago, or was that last week when we were going through our wide receiver ones for all of us? None of us had DK Metcalf inside of our wide receiver one, and that was part of the equation for us. Sure. We were talking about before on one of the cell shows. We don't know what's happening with Russ. That is a big part of the equation with him. If we knew exactly what was happening with him, he might sneak into our top 10s, top 12s. But without that news, we just can't do it. And then sure enough, this news broke. And it honestly even surprised me. I thought if there was somebody that was going to leave, it was going to be Rodgers, not Wilson. So that was definitely surprising, but that's why you kind of hedge your bets with some of those players, especially ones that are directly tied to those superstars. It does make it tough. So you're looking more now at, mid to low end wide receiver 2 for fantasy more than likely, and that might even be generous.
I moved him down to wide receiver 24.
Okay, so right at the end of wide receiver 2
So
range.
I see it exactly how you see it.
Yeah.
So right now you have DK Metcalf on your team.
Okay.
Right? Somebody comes to you right away. Hey, I'm looking at this buy window. They offer you a 23 first. They're a middle of the road team. They have 1-6 this year.
Yeah.
Do you take the 23 first straight up for DK Metcalf?
I think I do. I think I can do better. I honestly do. With any random first. I think I could find a better player.
This is really, really difficult because
do you squeeze a second out of them?
If I can, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you try for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm not smash accepting it first, but I think if that was the only thing I could get, I think I would.
It's tough because on the one side, all of the things that we said negatively, but on the plus side, he is still a young receiver that has a proven track record of success in the NFL. And so to just say like, I'm going to ship him off for random first is tough. But I think because of how highly I value that class, and you said it looks like it's going to probably be a mid, I think if a push came to shove, I would do it.
Yeah, but you're going to try and get like 1-6
for sure. I'm definitely pushing to get more things.
I feel good. I actually traded away Tyler Lockett this morning.
Did you really?
Yeah, I put up.
Wow.
I was looking.
Swell timing.
I was just going through some leagues because with this Watson rumors that he's probably going to end up in Carolina. I was trying to find avenues for him to acquire more DJ Moore shares.
More.
And I'm in a league. It's one of our older leagues, and I'm just loaded at running back in this league. I had Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And my receivers are real thin. I have, like Mike. I have DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Pittman Jr. I had Tyler Lockett. It wasn't really strong at receiver, and I was like, I just got to move one of these running backs. I was like, so let me see what I could do. And I looked at a team. He had Tyreek Hill, and he needed a running back pretty bad. So I was like, hey, I'll give you. I didn't start off with Tyler Lockett. He actually countered with Tyler Lockett. I was like, I'll give you Dalvin Cook, David Njoku. We're in Cleveland, working off the franchise tag news, and some other receiver. It was some turd Ferguson receiver because I was trying to get 1-for-1 for Dalvin. He countered when he wanted DeAndre. I was like, no, absolutely not. And then he countered back with Tyler Lockett, and I was like, yes, smash accept. So this, Tyler Lockett's gonna be 30 this year. Dalvin Cook's gonna be 27. Tyreek Hill's on the verge of a 4-year extension. So to me, I traded away Dalvin Cook and Tyler Lockett and David Njoku, and I got Tyreek Hill.
You want to hear something that's going to break your heart a little bit?
Before you break hearts,
okay.
I traded him, Tyler Lockett, probably about 4 years ago in that league, and I traded Tyreek Hill to that other player, that other person about 3 years ago.
Look at you. You're the facilitator.
Did the whole thing, I won the league last year.
Are you about to give me the Kyle Yates?
All that matters.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Are you going to give me the Kyle Yates information about Tyler Lockett?
Oh, no. What I was going to say was I had an offer in my inbox that I rejected about less than a week ago.
It's going to be bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it hurts. It was, I don't remember who the secondary player of each of them were. This is with my buddy Colt. It was giving up Calvin Ridley to receive Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, man.
Talk about two players that absolutely flip circumstances. Yeah, that hurts now. Looking back.
Well, speaking of that trade, I actually just bought Calvin Ridley last night
For Jerry Jeudy?
for a bag of D's. It was I gave up 2 4th, 2 5th, and 2 6th because some guy was convinced he was never coming back. That's what I got him for. I tried to get him another league for
What's in this bag? Oh, D. D.
a lot of D's, different size, different
Speaking of
colors.
D's, someone emailed me last week. The subject line D picks.
Get the heck out of here. Did you get it?
It was just like inside it said
Here they
no
come.
D picks. Don't worry.
I just want to say hi. So
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley
Shout out
obviously
to that guy.
suspended for 2022. He bet $1,500 on a gambling app. I mean, come on, get on Prize Picks. What are you doing? Yeah, play some props. Use your cousin's phone. Don't use your own phone, Calvin. I mean, really stupid mistake here.
Dude, that burns.
He's out for the year.
Yep.
Good. His range of value, and the reason I mentioned the bag of D's was because I got him for that, and then I tried to give him another league, and
What did you actually give up? Because did you say that? Did
Yeah,
you say
he said 2 4s, 2 5s, and 2 6s.
Okay. all right.
Yeah,
I just wanted
literally,
to make sure.
I gave up nothing. I
Right.
gave up.
It's a
nothing.
bunch of players you're going to cut later.
Right.
And the guy said, he's like, I probably just gave him away for nothing. He's like, but you're the only person to offer me anything. And I honestly don't think he's coming back at all. I'm like,
So
all
go
right, well.
make offers, people, because you
At
never
that
know what
point,
you're
just
thinking.
sit and hope he does.
So
Like,
another person, I tried to offer that, like a bag of the same substance. And they're like, they counter with a 23 first. And I wrote him back going, I was like, dude, if you expect to get a 23 first for a guy who will be 29 after being 2 years removed from the league, you're never going to get it. And he's like, honestly, I'd rather just have him rot on my bench than take a bag of D's. And I was like, all right, that's fair. I was
That's your
like, I told him, that's fair. That's a fair
and
point too.
that's kind of where I'm at, honestly.
Would you take a second, a 23 second?
At that point, no. Like,
Yeah, me neither.
I would rather just see if he can come back. I mean, if Antonio Brown can come back at age 33 and do what he did over the past couple of years, obviously Antonio Brown was a slightly more talented player, but he's still young enough to be able to come back and do something. And we're also all assuming that the entire year suspension is going to stand.
Right now, it's open-ended, right? It's an indefinite suspension.
Exactly. So he could easily appeal this, and there could be some sort of, deal that's negotiated or whatever, especially when you consider that he was not physically on the team when this happened. I think that there is some room for some possibilities of him coming back.
It's a slippery slope, though.
Exactly.
It
He's under
100%
contract though,
is.
too, though.
There's a lot of legal jargon I'm sure that's going to
it's
go
a
into this.
slippery
A lot of hoops to jump through, but I don't want to just assume that he is done forever.
I don't even think it's a slope that the NFL wants to.
Probably not. Probably not.
Let somebody try to.
But even if he
No,
does
I
come back at age 29, can you still be a productive receiver with as talented as he is?
Yeah.
absolutely for like 3 or 4 years. easy.
Exactly. So that's the thing. Like, I'm just going to base it on that. But there are potential scenarios that could make this even better. So at this point, I'm probably that guy. Like, if you want to give me a late first for Calvin Ridley, then I'll probably accept it. Maybe I'd consider like a 2-1 or 2-2 if there's a player on the board at that time that I love.
Come draft time, you're like, yeah, I'll
Right,
take that.
right.
Samir White's there. I got it.
Right, yeah. So, but if
Like last year, a guy like Elijah Moore sitting
Right,
at the
he
top
slips
of the
a little
top,
bit.
and you're like, oh my gosh, gotta
sure,
get in. Yep.
but outside of that scenario, like, I would rather just let him sit there on my bench and hope that something happens.
I agree with you.
I agree 100%. I'm one of those stubborn players too. Like, I'd rather just wait. I mean, you're only waiting a year.
But like I already mentioned, send out offers because you never know what the player, the person in your league is thinking.
Bag of D's I got it for. It was great. So, and I'm with you. Like, I'm sending offers. If I get him anything,
Richie Bag of D's. Right
if I can get him anything from a second on, I feel good because people are acting like I think that it's extrapolated on top of that he just missed this entire year, so he's out 2 years. So you're dealing with that already. You're like, okay, at least he's coming back this year. I already sat on him long enough, and now he's out for a whole another year. So it's 2 years removed. You might be able to get him for a second round pick. If I can get him anything from a second on, that's the thing. I didn't have a second round pick. Another guy said, he's like, I want to get a third from you, but you had no draft pick. So I'm like, lucky me. If I can get him, if I inquire Calvin Ridley for a second on, anywhere from 2, like you said, 2-3 on, I'm buying all day long.
Yep.
It's 1 year.
Yep.
It'd be no difference than right now if all of a sudden Davante Adams or Mike Williams.
Hey, don't even say
we'll get him yet. Davante Adams all of a sudden signs this extension, and then next month he tore his ACL, and he's out for the year. You're not selling him for less than that. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's a year. It's just a year, another year you got to wait.
Put that shit on Mike Williams, man.
Oh, speaking of Mike Williams, finally, the biggest news of the day.
Biggest news.
His news and Russell Wilson's news broke at the same time. I retweeted the Mike Williams news. I didn't even retweet the Russell. I didn't even comment on it. I tweeted all hearts with Mike Williams.
Who cares?
Mike Williams signs a contract extension with the Los Angeles Chargers for 3 years, $60 million, $40 million guaranteed, $28 million paid in year one, so they get ahead of that deal. So he's there. He's now locked up with Justin Herbert for the next 3 years, coming off a wide receiver 1 year. After years of telling you to go out and buy Mike Williams, years of doing it, and years of looking foolish doing it. My golly gee willikers, do we look so smart right now? Do we not, fellas? Do we not?
Where's that applause button?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I don't know which one it is.
Hell of a yes, Mike Williams is back for years upon years, approximately 36 months. He's back here. Right now, I mean, how good of news is this for all the Mike Williams owners out there? Because I mean, so I got laughed at for giving him a 23 first for him a year ago.
Yep.
And people were like, "Dude, you just way overpaid." And I'm like, "Well, we'll see."
I went out and did the same thing. Last year, I went out.
Got him.
See, now Jared's just going to press all the buttons.
Yep.
We reminded them they exist.
All right, I'm done.
I thought producers were supposed to make the shows better. So when it comes to Mike Williams' value, now that price tag has gone up significantly.
You think it's gone up significantly?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think this contract extension being tied to Justin Herbert, one of the elite quarterbacks in the game. On top of that, now you enter Russell Wilson in this division. So they have Russell Wilson, I guess Derek Carr, and you got Pat Mahomes. You're going to have to score points in the AFC West to win football games. So they're going to be pushing this ball downfield. Mike Williams and Justin Herbert's rapport is going to get even better. He's younger than Keenan Allen. The price tag, you'd got Mike Williams going to last year for 23 first. I did it. You did it.
I did it.
Now to get Mike Williams, you probably have to pay 2 first. Are you paying?
Well, I've got him everywhere, so
I don't have to.
I don't have
There's that
to.
one league that you don't have them. Are you paying a 23? Are you paying a 23 first and a 22 first for Mike Williams? It's a hefty price.
That is a hefty price, and I love me some Mike Williams. I think that might be a little bit too steep.
It's a little too steep for me too.
Yep.
I'd rather do the first and a player, like a first and like a Tyler Lockett.
There you go.
I'd feel fine doing that.
Yeah.
Yep. I just obviously, where do you guys have him right now in your rankings? Did you guys move him at all?
Let me take a little gander here, and I'll tell you exactly where I have him.
Because I moved him up. Of course.
Wait, is that possible? You have room to move him up?
He's up to 15 now, and that's up. I think he was
15 overall or 15 amongst wide receivers?
Wide receivers.
Oh, okay. I'm just checking.
That's a legitimate question.
I'm moving him to wide receiver 14, right after Terry McLaurin, right ahead of Deontay Johnson.
So you like him more than me? Hold on, I got to switch this. And now he's wide receiver 13.
There we go.
I mean, but I'm looking at guys behind him like Mike Williams or Deontay Johnson. Like
I'd rather Deontay.
See, I without knowing the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh
fair.
right now, like I for sure want to take Justin Herbert and Mike Williams and grow that rapport. Michael Pittman Jr., same thing. I don't know the quarterback situation. I still need to see Michael Pittman Jr. grow. I love Devontae Smith. I do. And I know you have him in your top 10, but right now I want Mike Williams over him. He's coming off the wide receiver 1 year. Really good numbers. Tied in with Justin Herbert. In offense is going to throw the football a ton. They just paid him number 1 wide receiver money. There's no reason to believe that Mike Williams, if he's not wide receiver 1 again, even low end, he's a high end wide receiver 2. I mean, this is a guy for the next 3 years, which we just mentioned is a lifetime, that's going to be you a championship caliber player. And for the most part, people that acquired Mike Williams, they have him on their rosters like you and I. Mike Williams in all my leagues is my wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
in all my leagues, I have Mike Williams, which are championship caliber teams. He's my wide receiver 3. Then I'm getting those wide receiver. I expect wide receiver 10 the wide receiver 14 range. Now, if the touchdowns go up on Mike Williams, which is definitely possible as well with the yards, I mean, he could flirt with wide receiver 6 potential. Like, to me, I don't think wide receiver 12 is the best that we've seen yet from Mike Williams. I still think we're going to see a better year from Mike Williams. So
can I get the cheer again? Come on,
so
man.
to me,
yes. I need that cheer button over here somewhere.
Yeah, so I can cheer for myself.
even at 4, I could literally see myself right now as having Mike Williams at 14, and people are like, wow, that's really high. And like you said, I take him ahead of Deontay. It wouldn't surprise me at this time next year, with another year with Justin Herbert in this offense with Brandon Staley, that, again, in the AFC West, that Mike Williams could slowly see a steady rise here over the next 12 months.
Yes, where do you got a guy like DeAndre Hopkins? Is he in your teens still?
19.
Okay. All right.
Right ahead of Amari Cooper, right behind T. Higgins.
I was wondering if he hit cracked the 20s yet for you. He's still in the teens for me as well. I was just wondering.
Just because last year it wasn't great, but I still think DeAndre Hopkins is an outlier, elite of the elite kind of receiver. Body control, hands are up there. Kyler Murray, I think last year was one of those funny years. He obviously dealt with injuries to that shoulder for a while too, so he's really off. I think he's a great buy for any contender. I'd still give up. And remember, he signed that big contract extension too. He's got a lot of money guaranteed there. Like, he's in Arizona for the next 3 years with Kyler. Right. I still think DeAndre Hopkins is worth a first-round pick, and I think you might be able to get him for a first-round pick. And even here, having him at, strictly the fact that it's Dynasty, so youth comes into it. So, like, the fact that I get, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, Michael Pittman, Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams ahead of him, that's just I'm playing on the years here.
Right. Absolutely.
For DeAndre Hopkins. So, yeah, he's still in my teens.
Sorry, my GM's acting all funny. For some reason, it's not wanting to log me in on the iPad. So I don't know where I have
What do you
him.
want?
Publish those Mike Williams bump.
It's probably because me and Rich are up here moving Mike Williams all around. It's crashing you on that end.
We're going to give him the one. Like, you have
you
a
looking
13.
I don't know.
I just
I
moved to 12.
probably. I need to look at him because I adjusted stuff for the GM, but I didn't adjust my rankings
Your
today.
personal rankings.
So I'll have to see where I have him. But off the top of my head, I'll probably be closer to 20.
He's probably at 24 for you, isn't he?
He's gonna probably be right around 20 for me.
So you like
Unbelievable.
I'm closer to consensus, I think, on Mike Williams.
so you rather have like Mike Evans?
I would have him above Mike Evans because of the age.
You rather have T. Higgins?
Yes, absolutely.
You rather have DeAndre Hopkins?
Yes.
You have
Devontae
Williams at 31 in PPR ranks.
Okay, yeah, I'll need to move him up a little bit.
All right,
Based on this
would you rather
news.
have Michael Pittman
Unacceptable.
Jr.?
It's just unacceptable.
Fired.
Michael Pittman Jr. or Mike Williams?
Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, see, there's just no way. No, the quarterback situation unknown. Very talented player, but
we've
somewhat of a similar player.
We've
there.
only seen 1 year.
And he wasn't wide receiver 12.
We've only seen but that's what I'm saying. We've only seen 1 year of Mike Williams.
Mike Williams is who he's referring to.
Not
Michael Pittman
Oh,
only having 1
well, we've
year.
only seen 1 year of Michael Pittman Jr. too, and he finishes wide receiver.
Yeah,
17.
but he's
Pretty
only
good.
had 2 years to give us versus 5.
But we got there, didn't we?
We did. We got that.
We mentioned earlier, salary cap goes up to $208.2 million. Do you guys have any comments on that? We kind of like breezed over that, but it's kind of, we're
It's
talking
just what we
about
thought.
a
I was
$26
just say
million
that was the
bump.
expected amount, right? That was what everyone was going off.
It's going to
of.
go up more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This
it's gonna be another
was
big
the
jump next year.
largest single jump year ever, and I would imagine it's just going to continue to grow. Like you said, it's going to go up quite a bit.
The new
next year.
TV deal is going to get about.
Yep.
We're going to be seeing 225 sooner than later.
I mean,
so.
did you see today? I know it's not related to football, but Apple TV is getting into sports too now. They're getting like baseball games, Friday night double headers. So
when are they going to air those?
Friday nights
Oh, what Friday?
during the baseball season.
When's that start?
I don't know. Whenever they come to an agreement.
That's what he was getting to.
I know.
We know that now.
I was dragging it out on purpose.
We just signed a deal to air all the home openers. Yeah, me too.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's on my broken TV. Enjoy it. Dark out.
But anyway, I mean, it's only a matter of time until there's another crazy revenue stream like Apple TV or one.
Well,
of these
Amazon's
others.
already in. They just
Right.
bought the rights to the Thursday Night Football, so they're getting Kirk Herbstreit in there. So the money's just going to keep rising.
gonna keep growing.
And that's
Yep.
the thing. This Aaron Rodgers deal for $50 million a year seems like it's a lot, but literally in probably 5 years, there's going to be $65 million quarterbacks.
It's gonna be a bargain.
It's gonna be
Absolutely.
insane.
Yep.
Like Justin Herbert, when he's up for his extension, guess what? He's getting as much as Aaron Rodgers got.
Gosh, he's going to get so much money.
Joe Burrow.
He's going to be making like they're going to be making like close to $70 million. It's going to be gross by then.
Yeah, him, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Like these guys are going to get paid. Kyler Murray.
So much money.
Kyler Murray's going to want $40 to $45 million a year. I ain't
Easy.
paying Kyler Murray that, but I guess you have to though. But
it resets the market.
No one goes down. It's not going to be $45 million. Aaron Rodgers just set the market at 50. It's going to be above 50 when it's time to come.
word to your granddaughter.
It's not going to go down. They don't care if they haven't done as much as Aaron Rodgers.
They want to be the highest paid.
They're going to get paid more.
Let's end the show on a high end with some tight ends.
Some tight ends.
Tight ends.
Tight ends.
Oh yeah.
Did we mention Chris Godwin's franchise
No,
tag?
we missed
Oh
it.
yeah, Chris
before we
Godwin
moved
got
on to
franchise.
Before we
tag,
get to the
too.
tight ends.
tight ends.
Chris Godwin stayed in Tampa Bay.
Right. That's not. I mean, they couldn't hammer out a deal. It's.
I don't know that that's good news.
I don't think it's great news because who the hell knows who's throwing the ball? If it's Tom Brady, it'd be magic.
Yeah, if Tom Brady comes back,
this
sure.
is fantastic.
But it sounds like him and Bruce Arians, like, there was, I don't think if he were to come back, I don't think it's the Tampa Bay.
no.
No, there was some rumblings that things were not quite simpatico there.
Got it.
Bruce.
Bruce is he's a strong personality.
He is
And I think Tom Brady is
also a strong personality.
earned the right to do whatever the hell he wants in the NFL. That probably didn't go over too well.
Yeah, it works well when you win a Super Bowl. When you don't,
Yeah.
it doesn't work as well.
Yep. I'm gonna go be my supermodel wife and kiss my son on the lips.
There you go. But yeah, I don't think it's great news.
But I think it says a lot. A guy who just tore his ACL and you're going to give him $20 million.
Sure.
For back to back. I mean, it says a lot of what they think of his talent. And he produces year in and year out. And honestly, he produced without Tom Brady there.
Chris Godwin or Mike Evans or Mike Williams.
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin was ahead of him until I just
You just moved him to get above Rich.
Sorry,
to get
Chris.
above Rich.
You got to prove yourself like Mike did. Come back after the ACL.
So
I'd rather have. I mean, even without uncertainty, I think Tampa Bay.
I'd want Chris Godwin too.
They're gonna find a quarterback, whether it be Jimmy G, whether they draft a guy. I mean, they're gonna find a way, and they're still gonna throw the football because they have no running back. So
That whole division is going to be fascinating in a really terrible way this year.
dude, New Orleans is going to be a dumpster fire. Like
dumpster fire.
It's going to be bad.
it's gonna be bad, man. It's
Alvin
gonna be
Kamara's gonna
really
get
bad.
all the
Atlanta
carries.
is not in a good spot
No.
right now.
Did you know how much Matt Ryan's getting paid this year?
Too much.
$46 million.
Oh
He counts against the cap.
So much money.
Hey, but at least they have Kyle Pitts to throw the football to.
But
I mean, Michael Thomas is coming back for the Saints.
who's throwing him the
Who's
football?
throwing him the ball?
Maybe Taysom Hill.
Who's throwing him?
Yeah,
the
not handing
ball?
him the ball.
Maybe Jameson.
Not running to him and saying, "Here, take this."
I have no idea. If I was
So
a
then
Saints fan,
Tampa Bay.
If I honestly,
Is-
I swear, if I was New Orleans, I would go Ian Book. You're our starter. Go out and lose us as many games as possible.
Yeah,
so
want
I can
CJ
have the
Stroud.
number one pick next year.
yeah. So,
and so you get Stroud
Yep.
or Bryce Young, whoever ends up being that guy. But
I'm with you. I'm going all like.
I don't
Full tank
even.
mode.
I don't even
Dennis
want.
Allen is
I don't even want
Dan
Taysom
Culley,
Hill
or
messing
David
up and
Culley.
winning.
I'm trading Michael Thomas for whatever I can. I'm trading Alvin Kamara for whatever I can. But that's the hard part for us is like as dynasty managers, we're used to that. NFL GMs have to remember like we have to keep some fans in the stands.
They got to correct their cap though too, man.
do.
They got just pay everything, get it all. Have
it this
one
year.
crap year,
One
dude,
bad year.
and then you come right back.
So that's the thing. Like Tampa Bay, just by
good class.
default, is going to be one of the better teams. But once again, without a quarterback,
Well, when Carolina gets Watson, they're going to be the clear.
that's
cut
why
winners.
I've been saying it for a while. Carolina needs to just sell the farm to get Watson.
I've been saying that for a while, too.
This guy.
I've been saying
Dude, I
Philadelphia
mean,
for a
whoever
while.
gets Zamir White, my guy, is just going to be the automatic winner. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting there. I'm with you. I would sell Marshawn Lattimore. I would trade away Marshawn Lattimore. I would trade away Michael Thomas and just eat his money. For this year if I had
Yep.
to. And same thing. I'm trading Kamara.
Any and all picks.
Just eat the money. It just kind of is what it is.
Clean
at this
up the
point.
books, clean up the roster, and just move on.
Let Dennis Allen be the fall guy.
Yep.
No big deal.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
Turn
Dennis.
the page. Sorry, Dennis. You got paid, and you're going to get paid for the rest of your contract because that's the way NFL coaching contracts work.
So weird.
And adios. You know what I mean?
All right, let's talk about these tight ends now, real quick. We're going to show that three
almost-
tight ends get franchise.
You almost cut it off because I said adios, didn't you?
I did. I'm
You're like, oh, wake up.
trained like a little dog.
David Njoku franchise by Cleveland,
Pavlonia.
Mike Gesicki franchise by Miami, and Dalton Schultz franchise by Dallas. Obviously, the biggest news here is Dalton Schultz getting franchised by Dallas, with Mari Cooper likely getting a boot here. It's going to be even more targets for Dalton Schultz, who's coming off his best fantasy year, best production year yet. Finished the year as tight end 4 overall, or 3 overall, I'm sorry, in PPR leagues this year. So a good chance to be another top 5 tight end. Matt, you're appreciating if he goes back there, the value of him. And you guys were right. He ends up back there. They franchise him. They're going to work on a long-term deal. Him, CeeDee Lamb, they're working on a deal with Michael Gallup. Great news if you're a Dalton Schultz owner.
Yeah, I think this was exactly the scenario I laid out. That was like,
Last
hey,
week.
this, Amari could be gone, and they could very well franchise him, and it literally happened. And when you're looking at the stats, he's a guy that he's obviously a guy that's attached to the line of scrimmage, more like a traditional tight end compared to one of these guys that flexes out wide. But he also leads the league since 2020 in TD receptions in tight, and also I think it's just the third most receptions period from a tight end that's lined up on the line of scrimmage. So he is a high end quality guy, and obviously the Blake Jarwin news you didn't even touch on. He has like a rare hip issue basically, which he's sounds like he's not going to play at all next year, or the chances are pretty good that he's not going to. So it's all lining up for Dalton Schultz to have a really good another. Probably top 10 finish next year. And
top 10, top 5.
Yeah, it could be top 5.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and just like we talked about it before, if he ends up back with Dallas in that same situation, he's going to be easily inside my top 10, and that's definitely the case. He'll be easily inside of my top 10 now, maybe even my top 8.
Nice. And then Gesicki gets franchised in Miami, which is great news for him.
Absolutely.
Come off a career year for him too, targets, reception-wise.
Great news for Tua.
And the biggest thing here with Gesicki, he would have been a top 6 tight end if he just scored touchdowns. He just had, I think he only had 2 touchdowns on the year. So he was kind of hindered there by the touchdowns, which we should see with the development of Mike Williams, getting more opportunity to get into the red zone when they draft Kenneth Walker. Should then could potentially be the 1-1 in rookie drafts. And with Tua, we should see Gesicki kind of cement himself in there that, like as Dallas Goedert has slowly done to enter that fray of that second tier tight ends, which are his high end, the elite tight ends right outside those number 1 guys. With David Njoku, I mean, who knows? They say they're going to keep Austin Hooper. You're talking about a guy who averages 30 receptions a year for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. There's not a whole lot to get excited about. But I will say this. This is a player that Browns obviously covet. They franchised him. First time they've ever franchised a player since Phil Dawson, which is the only other player they've ever franchised. They're paying him $10 million a year when they're already paying Austin Hooper that much money, $10.8 million a year. So David Njoku coming out really raw. Maybe they look at this with getting rid of Jarvis Landry. They're bringing a rookie in. That maybe they'll look to feature David Njoku to be a weapon in this offense. That's what all you can hope for at this point. I use that franchise tag momentum, like I said today, to get Tyreek Hill. I kind of put him in that package deal because his name's in the news. And when there's players I don't really truly believe in, anytime they sign a contract extension or they're franchised or anything like that, I always try to package them with another player. Just try to get a deal done. So I offload them for somebody that I want, kind of like Tyreek Hill.
Right. Nope. It makes absolute sense. And I'm in the same boat. I'm not necessarily overly excited about Njoku. I think from a fantasy perspective, this was actually one of the worst case scenarios. But if you're going to play the long game in this, there is a very real out in Hooper's contract after this season. Mm-hmm. So the long game would say potentially Hooper's out. He's the featured guy, and Bryant doesn't really increase his role much. But that's still a lot of hoping, wishing, guessing on that. So chances are it's just kind of what he's been.
Yeah, and he's always flashed, right?
He'll have 3 really good games this year.
Right. And that's the thing. Picking out those 3 is really the crux and the issue here when you're talking about David Njoku. So it's great for the Browns and the 3 of us sitting here. It's not great for anyone's fantasy team, I don't really think.
Nope, not
at
all.
That's it for the show. A lot of news to talk about dynasty-wise. We're going to jump into now the Combine and the rookie class of the 22 class in the Nerd Herd episode. Remember, you can join the Nerd Herd easily by going to dynastynerds.com, click that Nerd Herd button, jump in there. For the price of a cup of coffee a month, you get not only the extra podcast, which, again, this is the most important time you want the extra podcast. So we're going to start to break down these rookies very in-depth. Nobody does it better. And that's not, again, I sometimes when you say stuff like that, I'm like, oh, well, you're really conceited. The tape, we have 8 years of tape of our rookie breakdowns where other people go left and we go right. We have historically been proven right in our rookie breakdowns. I would put our rookie analysis against anybody else in the business out there today. So you want to get down there, join that. Again, we got the Dynasty Nerds film room. You can watch tape on every single rookie. You got the nerd score. You got the rookie rankings. You got the Dynasty GM tool and so much more on the way. Get out there, become a Nerd Herd member. Support our friends at PrizePicks. Remember to use that promo code NERDS. We're going to send you a shirt if you make a futures bet. And if you live in Arizona, they just passed last week that you could play the DFS games.
It's open to you guys as
So
well.
PrizePicks is now open in Arizona. We're going to be pumping all those new states. Ohio's coming at some point. And I can't wait
for that.
I'm going to be all over that PrizePicks, playing those overs like Baker Mayfield's over, Nick Chubb's over, Browns win total over.
David and Njoku's?
Under. So, check them all out. DynastyNerds.com. Join the Nerd Herd today. Better your Dynasty team. Be a better Dynasty player. But most importantly, dominate your rookie draft, dominate the season, and become a Dynasty fantasy football champion. These two will be back next week. I'll be in Mexico drinking margaritas all week long. I'm bringing my kids. I don't know if I'm going to see them, but I'm going to be there. They have a water park. I don't know.
Agua?
I might come back alive. I might not. We don't know. But I tell you one thing. I'll be tan.
There you go.
Well, enjoy the sun, sir. Adios.